Hey, good morning. Happy New Year. It's Tom, Global Time Traveler. Today we're going to take a look at 12 of the best watches I purchased in 2025. And they range everywhere from value-oriented brands from China all the way up to a high-end piece from Japan, as well as a custom piece that I got from Germany. That one will be number 13 to make our baker's dozen. Before we get started though, I do want to say that I think we are living in the golden age of micro brands and independence. I'm sure that every age feels that way. However, the available products and the quality from small brands that are coming onto the marketplace today is unlike anything I can look at when I go back in history. The quality, the variety, the options from these small brands that are coming from every point across the globe is phenomenal. And I do think it's only going to get better. The market may have some ups and downs as time goes on, but the offerings that these people are putting forward, the risks that they are taking, and hopefully the success that they enjoy makes this an absolute wonderful time. So let's get started. Thanks for joining me. It was easy to pick 12 watches. I have a lot, and each one of them I absolutely love. Narrowing the choice down to only 12 was the difficult part. But I have watches here, as I said, from across the globe, primarily from Europe and Southeast Asia. I don't yet have a North American watch. I do want to get a Notice. I'd love to get a Manta or maybe a Jack Mason. I will order an Islander from Mark very soon. He makes some very nice, offers some very nice affordable pieces that are really, really good quality. And if you're looking for another brand, his online store has a lot of brands available. So give Mark a look at Long Island Watch Company. But for me here today, I have 12 watches in my watch box. Yes, it is a cheap Chinese watch box. I've got 9 of these things now, and I can't see spending $300 to $500 on any particular box. Maybe at some point in the future, I'll buy a really nice one to have the best watches displayed in there. But for now, these work for me. As you can see, there are watches from Scandinavia, from the United Kingdom, from Germany, from Italy. As far as Asia, I have watches from Hong Kong, from Singapore, from mainland China, and from Japan. Additionally, I also have a watch here from Australia. So I think it's a really nice cosmopolitan selection of watches that are available in the independent micro brand market. Now, not all of these watches are quote unquote micro brands. Credor, it's not a micro brand. It's a small brand. They don't make an awful lot of watches every single year. But of course, they are a branch of Seiko, which is one of the largest watchmakers in the world. Additionally, Glashütte Original, while part of the Swatch Group, fortunately, the big company takes a hands-off approach and allows them to do what they want to do. But I also have small brands that are truly independent, whether it's a Second Hour, or a Beaucroft, or a Zelos, or a Henry Archer, or a Heinrich. They aren't associated with any of these large conglomerates, and they do what they want to do. And to be perfectly frank, what they do, I feel, is better than what some of the major brands are doing in terms of the originality, in terms of the heart and soul that they put into their products and into their offerings and into their customer service. which for me is probably the key to wanting to be in the microbrand marketplace. So let's take a look at these watches one by one. I'm going to do this over a couple of days, so apologies if it's a little bit disjointed, but I wanted to get this out to show here's what I've done in the last year. Maybe in the conclusion, we'll talk a little bit about where I may be going over the next year and into the future. All right, so thanks for being here with me today. Stick with me, I think we'll have a good time. Cheers. So let's take a look at our 12 watches today. There's no particular order for these. Number 1 is no more important than number 12. Number 13 is a different story, and we'll talk about that here in just a bit. The first watch we're going to look at today is a Credor Kuon. Now the Kuon is a Japanese domestic market model only. It is currently available in Japan, but for those of us who are not there, it's secondary market only. Current market price is between about $7,500 and $8,500. It is a 39 millimeter diameter case with just under 11 millimeters in thick. It has a very nice butterfly clasp 5-link bracelet on board, and the case is fully Zaratsu polished. So just like the high-end Grand Seikos and the high-end Aiki 2 from Credor, that I'd really like to have, but I don't have the money for that right now. Somewhere in the vicinity of 50,000 US. That's beyond my means. Maybe not yours, but definitely beyond mine. This watch has a hand-wound spring drive movement in it, and it has 72 hours of power reserve. The second watch we're going to take a look at is Venezianico Nereide Grand Tour. Now, this is a GMT watch in a diver's style. I covered this recently on my episode on GMT watches. It is a 42 millimeter case. It has a Sellita SW200 movement inside. It's good to 200 meters of water resistance. It is mostly polished elements in two-tone. Now, the two-tone is not typically something that I go for, but this one is very subtle in terms of the amount of PVD rose gold that's on it, and I find it to be not too much bling, not too much flash. Very pleased with this watch. Has a nice sunburst dial, and the quality of it, I think, is excellent. Venezianicos are one of my favorite brands. I actually have a separate watch box now for all of my Venezianico models. Got about 10 or 11 of them now. So that should tell you something about how I feel about him. From Europe, we're going to move down to Southeast Asia, Singapore to be specific. Now the model I've selected here is the Zelos Helica. This particular model is again 39 millimeters in diameter, just under 12 with a nicely boxed dome crystal. And the dial itself is a Gia shade salmon color. It's a CNC machined Gia shade. This has a Miyota 9015 automatic movement inside, and the looks and design I think are terrific. I have several Zelos models. This one I can wear both with dressing up and dressing down. Now with that color, it takes a very specific outfit that you're going to wear. Could be worn with jeans and a t-shirt, or if you're going to dress it up, perhaps you need to be mostly in black. However, very, very happy with this model, and I think you would be too. So give Zelos a look. Staying in the Pacific area, we're going to say, "G'day, mate," moving into Australia. This model is the Erebus Ascent in 41 millimeters with a blue mother of pearl dial. Now this is from Jody from Just One More Watch and Mr. P, having set up a watch business 2 or 3 years ago. And what Erebus offers, I think, is one of the best value product lines in the microbrand marketplace today. This particular watch is about $500 US, and it's beautiful with that mother of pearl dial. It offers multiple versions, multiple sizes, multiple dials. So anything that you could want, they probably have available for you. Now I have 2 additional Ascents on order right now. One is a high accuracy quartz, and the other is the Ascent GMT. Black dial with gold gilt accents, and I think it's going to be beautiful. Hopefully I'll have both of those watches sometime within the next couple of months, and I am anxiously awaiting them. Our next watch is a Bulova. Now, Bulova doesn't have a great reputation amongst enthusiasts and watch connoisseurs. This particular model I really like. It is a Precisionist 3-hand, and it has the high frequency, high accuracy quartz movement inside, which is accurate to within a few seconds per year. So this makes an absolutely great grab and go watch. I can leave it on the shelf. Battery's good for about 3 to 5 years. When I want to go, I just pick it up and go. I don't need to worry about setting it. This is a 40mm watch. It has a stamped and pressed 3-dimensional black dial. And I find this to be a very attractive watch on a leather strap. I purchased this one from Amazon. It was about $250, so very, very good value for what I find to be a good quality, everyday grab-and-go watch. Heading back to Europe, this is our first model from Germany. Now this is a Hanhart 417 ES flyback chronograph. This is a hand-wound movement, but as we said, it is a flyback, meaning you can reset it on the move and it doesn't skip a beat and can do multiple intervals without having to stop it, reset it, and restart it. Now, as a German watch, it is a little bit more expensive than those from Asia. But when you consider the quality and the workmanship that goes into products from Germany, I think it is well worth it. I have 2 Hanharts. I wouldn't mind another one at some point, but this one is my favorite. I use this frequently for flying, and it has been an absolute workhorse and a joy. So staying in Germany, we're going to move slightly upmarket. And this is the Glashütte Original Pano-Lunar Big Date. Now this particular watch, new today, is about $12,000. I bought this one secondhand. It's a few years old, and the biggest difference between the current model and this one is the extent of finishing on the movement. Now both watches have double swan neck regulators for fine adjustment of the timekeeping accuracy, but the new model is more highly decorated. But the new model, as I said, is quite a bit more finely decorated. These watches from the center of German watchmaking in Glashütte offer quality, luxury, a broad product line, and as a Swatch company, they do have access to all of the resources from the big conglomerate. But the good news is Swatch pretty much takes a hands-off approach to Glashütte Original and lets them do what they'd like to do, which I feel is a great business decision. Leaving Germany, we're going to move over to the UK and take a look at my current reigning champion in the affordable everyday watch, and that is the Beaucroft Element. This particular model is in the gin and tonic colorway, and it is my favorite everyday watch up until the Temper Red model arrives here in a month or so. And that may take the crown from the gin and tonic. Now this watch, I feel, is every bit as much of a quality piece as an OP or an Aquaterra. It doesn't have the brand cachet. It doesn't have the brand history. It doesn't have the reputation. And it doesn't have the technical specs within the movement. This being a Miyota movement, those two big Swiss brands having their own in-house high-tech movements. However, if I take all of that stuff away and look at watch for watch, objective consideration for objective consideration, to me, this watch is virtually the equal of those on a spec for spec basis. And when you add in the value concept, to me, it's a no-brainer. I have an OP. I like it. I prefer the Beaucroft. That's just me. You probably have a different opinion on that. And that's just fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, even if they're wrong. So we're going back down under, back to Australia. And this time, it is for the second hour Mandala 3. Now I have 3 second hour watches. I have the Fusion, which was my runner-up in the Everyday Watch, and I have a Saddlebird 2, which, like the Hanhart we just discussed, I love to fly with, and I've been wearing that quite frequently in the airplane. It's legible, it's reliable, it's accurate, very pleased with it. Now this Mandala 3, I find to be a watch that I'll use when I'm going to dress up a little bit if I'm going out in the evening, particularly if blue is my color, with that nice, beautiful light blue finish on that dial. Now this dial does have a Gia shade design pattern on it. It is water resistant, comes on a beautiful bracelet, and I couldn't be happier with it. Again, second hour, Australia, Peter and Akira Sargison. They make great watches. They have new products coming out later this year. Can't wait to see them. Heading back to Europe, to Switzerland in particular, and we're going to take a look now at the Monarte Squid. Now this is Swiss-made, but Domen, the company president, they have offices in different parts of Europe. This is a dive watch. It is fully ISO 6425 certified to 200 plus meters. It has a decorated Le Jeu Paré movement in the back with high regulation, specialized shock absorption, and other high quality features that you'll usually find on higher end watches. Now this one was a limited edition, so it was a little bit more expensive. And he does have fairly small product runs. So if you do want to order one, it may take a while to get it, depending on the availability. I was very, very fortunate that some came available. Domen let me know, and I immediately said, take my money. Very pleased with this watch. Great quality. If you're looking for a good dive watch, Monarte is an excellent choice. For watch number 11, we're back over to Germany. Now this watch comes from a terrific small independent brand that is run by one of the finest gentlemen that I've met in this community, Wolfgang Heinrich. Now this is the Heinrich Radiance. He has several colorways available. In fact, has come out recently with 2 Gia shade dials that are just beautiful. This one is kind of a tuxedo style, if you will, with that black and silver. It does have a hand-wound ETA 7001, movement in the back, the quality control, the bracelet, all of the finishing is superb. Now the bracelet I swapped out for a black leather strap, primarily because I use this one mostly for dress occasions. It is okay as an everyday watch. I find that the legibility of it with the small seconds to not be great in my line of work. It could be just fine for the office, but in the airplane, the legibility suffers just a little bit. However, as I mentioned, the quality and the customer service and Wolfgang's dedication to ensuring that his customers are happy is second to none. So give Heinrich a look. I can't wait to see what he comes up with next. The 12th watch we'll take a quick look at is from Henry Archer in Denmark. This is the Henry Archer timeline. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the Danish word because it will be absolutely horrible coming out of this pie hole. But this is a triple calendar dial. So it has a standard 3-hand along with the day, date, and month. It is not a perpetual calendar, so I do need to reset it on months that aren't 31 days and in leap years. But aside from that, it's very easy with a pusher to change the day and the date. And I find this to be a very functional, usable watch. Now, again, I've got a two-tone here. This has PVD rose gold. They call it sunset rose gold in their catalog. And again, like the Venezianico, it is a subtle gold as opposed to a flash. Now this is case hardened to 1200 Vickers. It is 200 meters of water resistance. So in terms of being an everyday watch, it can handle the stresses, the bumps, everything that you would do in a day-to-day environment. Now, the culmination of our watches for today. Number 13, and the star of the show, for me, is my Jaeger and Benzinger Edition 3. Now, I covered this not too long ago in a specific episode dedicated to this one, but this has significant importance to me. Mr. Jochen Benzinger took my order and hand-made this watch for me. All of the guilloche on the dial, all of the finishing on the movement itself is all done by hand using manually operated tools. As he likes to say, the only electricity in his workshop is for the lights. The dial, as we said, hand guilloched, and it is sterling silver with rhodium and rose gold plating, and then a very clear lacquer over the top of it to seal it in so there isn't any patina, there isn't any tarnishing of that silver. The movement is a vintage movement that you can see has been hand finished and highly decorated. Now this watch, the Edition 3, is kind of at the lower end of Mr. Benzinger's product lines, but I find this to be a wonderful piece and a great entry towards other models that he does offer. The one I've got on my eye on is a collaboration between Habring 2 and Benzinger. And I'm hoping that maybe not this year, but maybe next. Well, thanks for joining me here. I know that was a little bit long, but those are what I feel are the 12 best watches that I purchased through the year. Now, as I had mentioned in the beginning, there are lots of watches that I have that were under consideration, and lots of them are just as good, in some ways, maybe a little bit better. However, these are the ones that I felt were most important to me. So where do I go from here for this year? Last year I went a little bit crazy. A lot of my watch purchases were a little bit impulsive, where I'd see something and go, yeah, I want one of those. This year I've got to tone that down just a little bit. And I'm planning to be a little bit more focused and a little bit more considerate of exactly what I'm going to purchase. I have a list of watches that I'd like to have. We'll see how that works out. I do sometimes act impulsively. Imagine that. Anyway, thank you for being here. I hope that you have a wonderful new year. I hope that 2026 brings you joy and happiness and health and prosperity. And as we move into the year, as always, be well, be happy, be kind, be tolerant of each other, and have a great year. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for joining me. Cheers.